Anniversaries are marked primarily by years. I really think that in the case of CyFair College, its impact is being measured. Many people came from other colleges in the system for no additional pay, with a lot more work, just to be a part of something that really set forth a different kind of vision for the future and for what a college could be.
There's something special that happens when you're all focused on one goal.
Saw the growth, was part of the growth. And it's always been that innovative, creative space that we had started with.
When I started the program, I really enjoyed it. It was very technical. It was very fulfilling. I wanted to do something that would change people's lives.
The site of the college was a swamp with a herd of cattle on it.
And all of a sudden, pow, there was the campus.
Where we are right now was just a gravel lot. They had these trailers, and that's where my office was the first year.
The buildings going up, the trees getting taller, the number of students increasing, the parking lots going in.
It's just really astounding where we've come.
I love meeting with the students and teaching them, and I've seen generational changes, but to me the students are just as wonderful as they were 20, 25 years ago.
When we went from a 3,000 person enrollment to a 8,000 person enrollment, we had people lined up outside of the library, and I was like, who's doing a book signing? And they're like, no, they're here to register for classes.
As we've come out of the years impacted by COVID, when everyone really had to kind of pull within their walls and maintain distance and isolation at times, what is the most important message for our community to understand is our doors are open and we are here for them.
I've been overwhelmed by not just the way that this campus community has welcomed me, but overall looking at the entire CyFair community as a whole has welcomed my family. So my kids go to CyFair ISD and they feel welcomed. It feels like a home, and truly what we found is that welcoming, I belong atmosphere here.
I grew up in the Summerall neighborhood down the road, and I live in Copperfield now. I love the fact that the effort I put in here at the college and that all the stuff that my team does helps people in the community that I grew up in.
I think what really stood out to me when I've been able to bring my kids to like a library event or something and introduce them to some of my work family, if you will, and them getting excited about it and then going home and saying, Mommy, one day I want to go to your college.
My son is a student here at Lone Star College, and so it's a great opportunity to bridge him from high school to college. Everybody matures at different rates. It's a great opportunity to stay kind of close to home, but also take some great college classes and get ready for a university.
My student, my child, has still the safety of coming home at night to their familiar bedroom to begin to find those new skill sets to be successful in college. There's a lot of advantages of starting here and going far.
It's a big misconception that, community college is just get you in and get you out. The curriculum is pretty hard, and the teachers are wonderful.
There's opportunities for everyone to come to the college to either get their degree if they didn't get it, come straight from high school, and it's so much cheaper than going to a four-year university.
They're always working with the partners out there, trying to figure out what their needs are so we can get our students geared up to go out there and work with them and help them.
There's a dual credit program where you can graduate high school with your associate's degree. That is massively valuable to students who maybe couldn't afford that higher education or a four-year school.
The programs that you have for seniors, it's endless possibilities. This college is really a community entity for everyone.
That's what keeps me here, our care for each other and our care for our community and students.
And this area has become a hub of activity and a community center. It's really very heartwarming.
This last year's graduation in May of 23, just the energy of that celebration after a number of years of real challenge in navigating through COVID and finally kind of getting to this point of joyous celebration again.
I think CyFest really stands out because it was seeing how CyFair campus has really reached out to the community to bring those in the community here on campus.
My first convocation, my first Sci-Fest, my first time to get to be a Jedi in front of the camera. Those were all very, very important firsts for me. Lone Star College-CyFair. May the force be with you.
I mean, I'll never forget the day that Student Life brought in a bunch of baby goats. We got to pet baby goats. They're adorable.
You know, we don't know a lot of things about the future, but that was at the heart of the vision, right? Preparing students to have a lifetime of learning and change.
That's on us to encourage creativity, to encourage critical thinking, so that we really stay on the cutting edge of the direction that our community is going to need us to be to prepare people to be active and thriving within that economy and within that community.
I enjoy seeing the success stories that come out of it. These folks that are bridging the gap to Harvard, to Stanford, and doing just some amazing things out there. Really do have an opportunity to collaborate with a lot of businesses and a lot of nonprofits in our area, and so I think that's only going to grow and continue in the next 20 years.
So many of the programs that we have in place now, we really could not do it without having that strong relationship with them.
Just feel like this came at the right time, and I just hope it continues to be the natural community group that everybody looks up to.
So many of the students that came through our program are now teaching in CyFair ISD. They have reached their goal, their ultimate goal, and they have their start at Lone Star College.
Being part of a college like this, that's innovative, always looking to strive to be better, is just amazing. And I look forward to the next 20 years, and I hope I can be part of it going forward.
I see it as being able to help students continue to keep moving to what they want to do with their goals.
The impact and the life changes that are being made in students and families is just incredible.
I think that our students are showing the next generation is going to be okay. My students are able to do the work, they're able to do the jobs. They've gone through adversity, they went through the pandemic. These people are going to be up for the challenge of being the community leaders, of being the business leaders, of being the education leaders.
A tremendous thank you and congratulations to everyone who has made possible this year's 20th anniversary celebration of Lone Star College-CyFair. A tremendous debt of gratitude to everyone who had the innovation and the creativity and the passion over 20 years ago to have the idea that this college could come to be. And a tremendous thank you and congratulations to everyone who over the last 20 years has joined the college, has become part of our integral fabric, and has made an amazing experience and impact for our students and for our community. Thank you very much, and congratulations on 20 years Lone Star College-CyFair.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to our 20th anniversary celebration. I'm Matthew Dempsey, and I'm joined here by my co-host,
Ronnie Nisbecka, founding faculty member here since 2003, Kinesiology Department Chair.
Thank you, Ronnie. Love to take this opportunity to thank everybody that came out here today. Thank you for celebrating with us. Thank you for enjoying this moment. A sincere thank you to our community partners and leaders that have come out here, to our faculty and to our staff that have come here and taken time away from their days, to anybody that's traveled. Thank you so much for being here. Most of all, thank you to any students that are in the audience. You're the reason they built this place. You're the reason this place remains, and you're the reason that this place will continue to be here. Ronnie.
I'm ready.
I belong.
Yeah, you do.
No, I belong. I belong here, and I belong here on the stage for a couple of reasons. I think for the first part, as the Vice President of Instruction, I think I belong on the stage.
For sure.
However, Ronnie, you may not know it or not, but I've become a bit of a social media darling lately. Ronnie, get this. My experience as Jedi Master Dempsey I'm approaching 3,000 views on social media.
3,000 views.
3,000 views.
Easy, young Padawan. Easy, okay? So if we're going to be talking about how many views, me being a founding faculty member, I worked with Michelle Tran back in the beginning when we started doing social media views, way back in the day, get students registered. Let's try like 7,000 views for my videos, okay? So right on.
That is impressive, and since you brought up founding faculty and numbers, I've only been here since 2021, and did you know that I'm on my third president? Ronnie, and second chancellor. Ronnie, since you're a founding faculty, how many presidents have you had the pleasure to serve with?
I'm counting my social media views again, okay? You know, I ducked down around that one. That's good with that, right? Yes. But you know what? It's really not about social media views.
It's not.
And going through presidents. What's more important is what I would like to do is introduce our current president, Dr. Valerie Jones. With that being said, hold me in half a second because I need to give her these awesome props. I'm not going to read her script. I'm going to read my script. So be careful. Yes. Dr. Valerie Jones, her career began as an English faculty in North Carolina, followed with a leadership role as Vice President of Instruction at Odessa College. She joined Lone Star College family in 2019 as the Associate Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs. And in 2022, we welcomed here home to Lone Star College-CyFair, Dr. Valerie Jones.
Community members, friends, and Lone Star College colleagues, welcome to Lone Star College-CyFair's anniversary celebration of 20 years. The work we do together is transformational. We support individuals, families, and communities in turning their dreams into realities. But it is also demanding and calls on us to strive tirelessly in support of that vision. Because of this, today's program and multiple other events throughout the year are designed to be festive, playful, and joyous celebrations of why we do the work we do each day. I'd like to recognize a few members of our audience today. Please stand or wave or bow or tip your hat as you prefer when your group is called. And I will apologize ahead of time if I overlook any of our phenomenal supporters in the audience today. As always, putting our students first, please stand if you are a Lone Star College student here today, including those helping us celebrate from our PTK officers, Honors College students, talented student performers, and Falcon Force media gurus. Thank you, students. As Matthew mentioned, you are why we are all here today. Next up, CyFair's founding president, Dr. Diane Troyer, founding vice president of instruction, Dr. Crystal Albrecht, and founding vice president of administration, Dr. Bob Williams. They're joined in legacy by community leaders, Darcy Mingoya, Fred Caldwell, and anyone present today who joined in the work of collecting signatures or otherwise rallying support for this new college 20 years ago. Dr. Mark Henry, CyFair ISD Superintendent, and his leadership team, President of CyFair ISD Board of Trustees and always best dressed man in the room, Tom Jackson, and any past or current CyFair ISD board members here today, please stand. Leslie Martone, President of CyFair Houston Chamber of Commerce, and any past or current chamber board members. Members of the Lone Star College Board of Trustees, LSC Foundation Board, and LSC Chancellor's Cabinet, including prior LSC-CyFair President, Dr. Silpa Keshvala, and other Lone Star College employees here with us today. Friends joining us from Representative Morgan Luttrell's office, who has also issued a commendation to Lone Star College-CyFair on behalf of the United States House of Representatives. We are joined also by Representative Mike Schofield. And lastly, we have received a declaration now on display from the Governor's Office, the state of Texas, with best wishes as we celebrate the accomplishments of the past and look forward to the achievements of tomorrow. Just over a decade ago, when my partner Dawn and I first loaded up 2 kayaks, 3 dogs, 2 horses, 11 chickens in the truck, do not recommend, and an RV to leave North Carolina headed to Odessa, Texas, we never imagined being here today with such a tremendous community. Dawn would first connect with this region in rescue and medical response during Hurricane Harvey. And almost 5 years ago, I joined the Lone Star College family, being welcomed home, as Ronnie mentioned, to LSC-CyFair last summer. Over the last year, this college collaborated in development of our campus premise, I Belong. You will see the members of our faculty, staff, student body, and community in our social media and throughout our campus as we represent not only the images, but the stories and the beautifully diverse identities which comprise our college. You will notice the small I we use to remind us that this belonging is also created in our online classes and through digital connections as well. Although my SGA students did point out how much they appreciated the throwback to iCarly, the TV show. The college then crafted tenets defining what I Belong means to us. I Belong will ensure that everyone feels seen, supported, and respected as part of LSC-CyFair. To accomplish this, we commit to the following tenets. I will be compassionate and welcoming to create an inclusive environment. I will be kind and honest to earn trust. And I will be transparent and accountable to expand understanding. Today's I Belong tenets sprout from the strong roots this campus laid together 20 years ago and guide us into our next 20 years together. Today's program allows us to walk together through our origins, our 2 decades of growth, and to provide a peek into our future together. We've expanded over the years so that LSC-CyFair now includes main campus, a vibrant Cypress Center supporting our industrial programs, homeschool students, and Lamar Consolidated ISD dual credit, as well as our Westway Park Technology Center, a high-tech facility preparing students for careers in programming, networking, cybersecurity, and more. For those of you who first dreamed this, who first put a shovel in the dirt, or who first welcomed students onto this new campus in 2003, know that you have since touched the lives of nearly 320,000 students and their families. Over these years together, we have celebrated over 37,000 credentials being awarded to individuals whose families and personal trajectories are forever changed because of each of you here today. No better illustration of this exists than to reflect on the nurses, the paramedics, and other healthcare professionals who had graduated from LSC-CyFair and joined the fight against COVID-19. This year, for the first time in college history, we will exceed capacity for graduation at the Berry Center, beginning a new tradition of 2 spring commencement ceremonies. Which, as you saw in the image, include associate degree graduates, not yet high school graduates, from all 12 of the CyFair ISD high schools through College Academy. I could not be more honored than to serve all 23,000 students with us this fall semester and all who will follow them. Let's walk together through the stories of LSC-CyFair's 20 years. Ronnie and Matthew, I hesitate to admit, but we are in your hands.
Thank you, Dr. Jones, I think. Ronnie, you ready to have some fun?
I'm ready to have fun, but actually, we knew we were going to have fun. Are you guys ready to have some fun with this? This is a celebration. So let's just loosen up, relax, and enjoy this ride with us.
What better fun to have than a little bit of a history lesson? Ronnie, I need a history lesson. When I first got here, I saw some satellite imagery from, 20 years ago. And what I saw was a beautiful Katy Prairie. I need some explaining here. Tell me how someone took that Katy Prairie, that empty, wide open space, and decided that at some point in time that would become a center for the community and a bustling, robust, thriving community college. Tell me, Ronnie.
Well, let me tell you. For some of you guys may not know, but this is an important symbol for the person that had that vision to see the Katy Prairie and said, you know what, this is a great opportunity to have a beautiful college campus. Well, that individual is also a huge supporter of, you may know, the American Heart Association. Go Red with Darcy Mingoya. Yes. So with her vision and her use of all the things that she saw in this community and how fantastic it was, I personally worked with Darcy back in the day with the American Heart Association, raising over $200,000 for herself with the Go Red. Fantastic. But as she was the former CyFair chamber, and she saw that and saw the amazing opportunity this community had to have a college campus built out on this Katy Prairie. With that being said, I'm getting ready to introduce Darcy Mingoya. Darcy Mingoya was a former CyFair Houston Chamber of Commerce president and retired Lone Star College Foundation Executive Director, and has always been a longtime supporter of CyFair. She's also served as a CFISD trustee and bus buddies, and if you've never done a bus buddy, that is some fun stuff. And she is also one of our many generous endowment scholarship donors. However, with her most important role was her vision to bring this campus to fruition. With that being said, please welcome Darcy Mingoya to the stage. I'm going to do stuff off script. I have to give you a hug. So good to see you.
I think Ronnie had hair when we saw each other last.
I'm right here. It's a mic. I can hear it everywhere.
Y'all, I'm so happy to be here today. The story about this college, first of all, I had this little bitty small part. There were so many people worked on this because there were so many people that wanted it. But it started 24 years ago in the chamber offices, the CyFair Houston chamber offices. Fred Caldwell was our chairman of the board, and he was very young and energetic and said, And he said, we need to make sure that we are helping our businesses. That's the most important for us to do. And he got Ray Lauder to do some focus groups for us, and those focus groups were asked, what do you need to have your business be successful? Well, you know what the number one thing in all 6 focus groups were? Workforce training. We were surprised that that's what it was, but that's what it was, and the Chamber started talking about it. Superintendent Rick Berry was also on the Chamber board, and we tried to figure out what we needed to do. The healthcare workers at that time, there were many shortages, including a nursing shortage. The CEO of the hospitals kept telling us, we need to get nurses training, we need to get nurses training. Many of the businesses in the community were needing people that were more informed on word processing and how to write programs and all kinds of business skills. And the industrial companies, the most interesting thing they said was, the average age of our welders is 58 years old. What are we going to do in 10 years? Nobody is taking welding. We need welders. We decided, all of us together, this group of people, that what we needed was a community college that would survey the needs of our community, would design and teach all the training our workforce needed. We were the largest school district in the state at that time without a community college in its boundaries. There were some limited offerings, mostly academic, by 2 different colleges divided by 290 north and south. But that didn't give us the workforce training we needed. So we decided to do a request proposal and write everything we wished for and ask the 2 colleges that were working in our community to respond. And they did so very positively. One of the things that had happened is a few years before that, we had a failed election because there was some discord among the colleges and who would be able to annex us and receive our tax base. And so we made both colleges agree to do a public presentation, to make their board decide yes or no if they would accept us, and would not interfere in any other elections that we had. So we were going to choose one, but they had this great opportunity to interview for that position. We had public presentations, and many people attended, press, all kinds of people attended, for them to present their facilities ideas and their curriculum ideas in probably the winter of 2000. Well, I got to tell you, the North Harris Montgomery Community College District presentation knocked our socks off. It was amazing. They promised a 400,000 square foot facility built within our boundaries. They said they would include any training that needed to happen for our employees. So we selected them and we started working seriously. Did you know you have to gather 5% of the registered voters' signatures to petition to have an election to annex to a college district? That was 9,000 signatures at that time, and they all had to be registered voters. Well, for the next 9 weeks, on the weekends, 100 chamber members, 100 different chamber members went and stood at shopping malls, stood at grocery stores. Fred and I actually did a park and ride one morning. It was pretty unsuccessful, but we did it. We went to athletic games. We did to every kind of place where we could find people to sign a petition to allow us to have an election. We finally got enough signatures, and we brought the petitions to the Harris County Board of Ed, and they decided we're going to have this election on August 12th. Well, the next step is we had to make sure that the public understood that we were going to pay taxes, but it was very minimal, less than 11 cents per $100 valuation of your home, but we needed to make sure that we got support for it. We formed a PAC, a political action committee, with 25 business members. We raised over $100,000 for the campaign. And at that time, Ray Lauder was able to help us as a liaison between the college and the chamber and the political action committee and advise us on any of the legal issues that we needed. It was very great to have his support on that. Well, election day came on August 12th. 71% of the voters agreed to be annexed to CyFair ISD and pay that additional, or be annexed to the college to pay that additional tax, all of in our CyFair area. And then something really amazing happened. Our first president was named Dr. Diane Troyer, and she had a very small team. I believe it was 6 or 7, but they were very mighty. And they worked hard on facility design and curriculum design. They interviewed a lot of businesses in our area to find out exactly what they needed. So in 2002, we opened up the Fairbanks Center, which was a wonderful way to start teaching the classes in the community. And 15 months later, we opened the door to this college with, and you're going to laugh at this, 7,000 students. Now we have 23,000. That blew me away when I heard that. Within a year, though, we were the top college enrollment-wise in the college district, and that was the college district that eventually got named Lone Star College. So workforce training was what we wanted. We wanted to make sure that our businesses could be successful. That's why the chamber was so involved. And so many other things came as a part of that were great for our community, and I know that they'll be touched on a bunch today. But I looked at the speech I gave on the dedication day 20 years ago, and I found a few phrases that I thought I wanted to share with you today. The CyFair community has always been committed to education. The dream to provide affordable access to education lives here. We are dedicated to the principle that everyone deserves the training and education needed to change their lives. The CyFair community demanded this college, embraces it now, and knows in our collective heart the college has and will continue to make a difference in the lives of our community members. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ronnie.
Yes.
You know, I got here a couple years ago.
Yes.
2021. Can you believe all the construction since then? I mean, I hardly even recognize the place. You're not going to believe this, but it's taking me a whole extra minute to get to work these days.
Yeah, 2021. So that's 2 years ago. So let me give you a vision of what it was like 20 years ago. And speaking of that, I appreciate the no hair. We got something to go about with that, Darcy. I'm not surprised you're not more about my dress and my attire with me wearing a suit versus tennis shoes. But me, coming to school, I used to live in Stonegate, and I used to drive down Tuckerton. And this is important if you guys have this vision, right? So if you're back here in 2003, you'd go down to Tuckerton, you'd get to this road called what? Barker Cypress Road, right? And this was a 2-lane road, and that was a stop sign. There's an important part of this, because I could look across when I'm driving to work, seeing this beautiful Katy Prairie, seeing the cows grazing and everything, and I could be in work at no time at all. But why should we just live in the past? We should always grow and be looking towards the future, correct?
That is correct.
Yes, but the best part about this is now that is an intersection, and now we have Town Lake, and we have this unbelievable opportunities for plenty of options to go and eat.
Like
the exercise guy is saying that. Can you believe it?
You mean like Luby's in the cafeteria, right?
No, not like Luby's in our cafeteria.
All right.
We're talking about Town Lake and how amazing Town Lake is. You guys can see where we're going with this, right? We have one individual that was very instrumental in bringing this community all together with this campus starting out, and what he saw was with his vision, and that is Fred Caldwell. With that, I'd like to introduce Fred Caldwell, President and CEO of Caldwell Communities and a Texas A&M graduate. I knew it was coming. I'm good. I'll pause for that. And he believes education is the cornerstone of a strong community, and how right he is. He served on several boards such as the CyFair Educational Foundation, 12th Man Foundation, and our LSC Foundation Board. CFISD even named him an influential honoree. The Caldwell family played a pivotal role in the birth of this college, and they also support our students with multiple endowment scholarships. With that being said, please welcome to the stage Fred Caldwell.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you today, and it's appropriate that I would follow Darcy Mongoya. I've had multiple people ask me if Darcy has told me what to say, and I just want to assure all of you, Darcy's given me exactly what I need to say, and I'll say exactly what she tells me to say. That's all the way back that 20 plus years ago now. Really, I think about that time, and Darcy and Diane and others were so influential in this movement, really, about creating a stronger community here. We had a tremendous school district in CyFair ISD. As we looked at it, as Darcy said, we started saying, well, how do we attract more businesses here? Cypress had always been known as a bedroom community. I remember having a conversation with the head of the Greater Houston Partnership at that time, and I went down to his office and talking to this guy, and I said, you know, what do you know about Cypress? And he looked at me and he said, I have no idea where Cypress even is. And I remember thinking that, and he was serious. He had no idea. He said, what is Cypress? And so that kind of led into more conversations with the chamber and others about, well, what do we need to do to kind of help Cypress emerge and leverage the tremendous assets we have here? And as Darcy said, we went through that process, and at the top of the list was workforce development. And as we looked at it from a company standpoint, we have a vision of creating extraordinary communities that enrich lives. We want our company, we want to be in the mix of helping make every community in which we live and work better. That's our goal. And so back at that time, as Darcy said, it was an incredible amount of work that happened by so many people. And, you know, a lot of you have been mentioned, but I want to say particularly, I've told Darcy's one of the strongest leaders I've ever known, by far, and she truly is. But I also would say Diane Troyer is top of my list. When I think about people, I've been so blessed in my life to be around great leaders. I mean, Dr. Mark Henry here, he's my dear friend, great leader. He makes that job look so smooth, and you know, make up jobs, it's not easy, that's one. But I think about great leaders I've had a chance to, back then was Rick Berry, Dr. Berry, a dear friend, and was still involved in all of this. But I think about Diane Troyer, Dr. Troyer, who became a dear, dear friend, one of the greatest leaders I've ever known, by far. And Diane, I just want you to know that. I was thinking about, you know, what do you ever say at one of these things that's meaningful? And I can tell you that Diane Troyer, you are one of the greatest leaders I've ever known. And I've never had the opportunity to do this, so I'm going to take the few minutes I've got here. This wouldn't be here if it were not for Diane Troyer. I can tell you, and Laura and Bob and all of you, Crystal, Ray Lauder, all of you that poured into this, it would not have happened. They did it on a shoestring and trying to figure it out, really inventing things that didn't exist. Diane, I can just say we were so blessed to work with you. I just can't tell you what it meant to me personally. To just be able to be involved and be engaged and see what's happened now, way beyond any of our expectations. All of you students, man, it is just, can't tell you how meaningful it is to see each of you and the impact this place has on you, because that was always our hope and our dream, that this place would do that. Darcy, I'm going to go back to Darcy, asked me to speak about community impact, and I think some of them are very obvious. Number one, workforce development we talked about, from nurse training, medical training, all the different things that happen here that are incredible for workforce development. The firefighter academy, the library that's here, all those things are just part of having a great community. But I'll say this, the other day Susan and I were at dinner, and like many of you, the lady, the young gal that was serving the dinner that night, I started talking to her, where are you from, what are you doing? Well, as many of you probably have had this conversation, oh, I'm going to school. Where are you going to school? Lone Star College. Which one? Lone Star College-CyFair. And I started hearing her story, and her story was like many stories, like didn't know if I should go to college, didn't know if I could or not, and you've probably all heard these stories. We hear them at the foundation all the time when we go to chancellor's breakfast, you hear these stories of a person standing up saying, I don't know if I ever really deserve to go to college. And I remember this girl saying that and talking to her about it. And I remember thinking, what if this hadn't have been here? What if Lone Star College-CyFair wouldn't have been here and that little gal serving our dinner the other night? Maybe not. And maybe she wouldn't have gone to college. Maybe not. And so when I think about all that's happened out here, the development, we've been so blessed to be involved and develop around this area. This college has anchored that. But more importantly, I think this college has anchored hope for generations to come and the generational impact, because I tell you that the reason we support it as a family and our companies and whatnot is because it's for all the maybe nots. You know, all the ones that are going to the 4 years and all that, I know they're going to do that. They're going to find a way to get there. But I can tell you, Lone Star College System is for all the maybe nots that we get a chance to support and help ensure they get a college education. And the delta in all of that is that it's going to impact not only that student, but it's going to impact their family and it's going to impact generations to come. So it has been a great blessing to be a part of this. Darcy, Diane, can't thank you two enough for the impact you've had here and for really the entire Lone Star College system. It's been a blessing to work with you and be part of this for many, many years, and we're very, very thankful. God bless you.
Fred, thank you, Fred Caldwell. I am a Falcon. I've been a Falcon since I got here, and I think I'll always be a Falcon. What a neat animal, majestic bird of prey, keen eyesight, over 40 species. I can't compete with that. I am ducking out of here. Hold on, I found it, and I'm not giving this thing up. Here's the duck, here it is. Keep it safe, keep it my friend, okay? I'll take good care of it.
Thank you, that was great. We enjoyed doing that, and I want to take you guys on a quick little story with our next special guest, Dr. Diane Troyer. This little story started back in 2003. We were all sitting in this very theater, sitting in these exact seats that you guys are sitting in today. My fault. And with these seats, when we were sitting here, Dr. Diane Troyer was giving her first speech, her first convocation to all of us. We were nervous. We were happy. We were excited. We were scared. But she sat up here and she gave one of the most awesome speeches. And she said, you guys are working so hard. And as Fred just mentioned, Fred Caldwell mentioned, is that she's an excellent leader, but she was so smooth and calm. Well, she confided in us that when we were getting ready to open our doors that next week and have all these students come rushing through the door, that we worked our tail off. We were making sure that this college was going to go off without a hitch. And she said, you work hard. You're like ducks underneath the water. And then there's these lakes, just paddling, just furiously paddling. But on the surface, when I walk around and I look at you and everything that you're doing, you are calm, cool, collected, smooth. We were so excited and we were so energized by that because we're like, yeah, we are working hard. I'm glad we're making it look smooth and calm and collected. But that speech helped us out go through the next few days and get ready for those students. And that was an honor for me, and it's an honor for me also to invite Dr. Diane Troyer up to stage because, again, as a founding faculty member, she was the one that hired me. So if anybody has any complaints about this presentation, you can blame her by saying you shouldn't have hired this gentleman.
Okay. Gosh, it's good to be here. I can't even tell you.
It's a thrill. Thrilled to be back in this wonderful space and to be with my old friends and new friends. Thank you so much, Valerie, for your warm hospitality and to be around these memories, wonderful, wonderful memories. But it does seem like this 20-year marking is not just about years, but impact, and you're already hearing the impact that this college has had. It's the vision of the college, I think, that had its impact on not only the individual students, but the community as a whole. And it's so clear from Darcy and Fred's remarks what a difference the college has made to the community and how their leadership in the community made this work. So it was a perfect coming together of all the right things, and I think there has never been a time quite so perfect. This college came from the community because the community demanded it, wanted it, worked to make it happen. And it was one of those kinds of experiences that made it clear that we would never be able to separate the college from its community and its roots. So CyFair College, right? A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I think it was a time when the right people, the right place, the right time, the right resources, the right community leaders all came together with the right vision, right, to create this wonderful entity. And it's that vision that inspires me and makes me so proud of having had a piece in the founding of this college. You know, the first college in the 21st century. That's quite a thing to try to do, isn't it? And that challenge, I think, was embraced in a way that I think is almost indescribable. Because how could you open a college on opening day with over 6,000 students on opening day? And 40 workforce and transfer programs. And, a county library. And while you're at it, how about a fire station and a emergency services training center? And how about a learning signature that was focused on creating an incredible environment for students to be engaged around innovation and learning? And how about the ducks, right? I mean, the ducks were always present. So all of the people that came together to make this work, I think you have to start looking at, well, what were all those right things? And I think it started with the bold leadership of the Chancellor, John Pickelman, and certainly the leadership of Ray Lauder, who helped develop that community and political will to get this done. The strength, tenacity, and talent of Darcy Mongoya, who organized the community effort to both get the college approved and funded. Amazing community partners like Fred Caldwell, Jerry Albrecht, and so many others. It just was a dream to have that kind of support behind us, believing in the same vision we had. Fred's role in making sure that we could launch with our centers was absolutely essential for what happened here later. The critical role of the CyFair Chamber of Commerce and as our first partner, and so many other community organizations and partners, the Rotary Club, the Emergency Services District, the Harris County Library, the ISD Foundation, and on and on and on. You know, I'm gonna leave out, so many people, which drives me crazy, but Rick Berry, Pam Wells is here, our wonderful partners at CyFair ISD, our architects, David Calkins and C.K. Pang, who took our vision and made it into this wonderful space. And so many individuals have stepped up and provided the founding endowments for scholarships, the organizations, individuals, and companies that were committed to access for our students. And then, of course, there were the right people, the founding team. Certainly, I've never worked with any group of people that are more amazing, that have both the talent and the commitment and the passion and the selflessness that our founding team brought to the table. Laura Carrion, employee number 2. I was number 1, but Laura was number 2. And her partner in crime, yes, Flo Sy. The two of them, masters in communication, inclusion, and planning, I mean, like no others. Vice President of Student Success, Crystal Albrecht. She, she not only spearheaded all of the development of the full range of the academic and workforce programs, but masterminded the partnership with the fire station and the fire training center, as well as in her spare time hiring 100 founding faculty and developing an amazing learning signature that drove all of this. So, Bob Williams, yes. The vice president for the CFO, who not only managed our money, but managed the design and construction of this amazing campus, and came in, I think, on time and under budget, if I remember, all while running ultra marathons in his spare time. And Earl Campa, who was the vice president of student services. Sadly, we lost Earl last year, but he was the architect of the first true one-stop center design in the country, and also was behind all of the planning that resulted in the really world-class partnership with Harris County Library. And then our centers, Linda Austin, who started our Winfern Center, and that helped us develop that base. Linda passed away as well. And Dina Shepard, who was our Fairbanks Center. What an amazing, amazing team. And I'd like Bob and Crystal and Ray Lauder and Laura and Flo to please stand. Because these are actually the people that did it. So from that core team, we had an incredible family of founding faculty, staff, and administrators that came together for the critical work to actually make this a reality. The college's learning signature set the course for amazing amount of student-centered engagement and innovation. And I only wish that each one of our founding staff members could be introduced individually so we could hear their story of how they contributed to making this college a reality. I would love to have everyone who was here on opening day to please stand and be celebrated. A vision can be something that is put on a web page, or on a brochure, or it can be embraced and deepened and expanded. The part of the CyFair College vision that I think has made the difference is that it strove to be an institution that thrives on preparing students for a lifetime of learning and change. One reason I am so proud of what has happened to CyFair College over the last 20 years is that vision has not sat on the shelf. It has helped shape the way the college has adapted to the changing needs of the community and to the students, and is still preparing students for a lifetime of learning and change. I am so fortunate to have been a part of this journey and celebrate 20 years of impact,
And it's an utter joy to see what CyFair College has become. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Diane Troyer. Greatly appreciated. So, like she said, who can say you opened up a college, right? In the 21st century, right? But you can open up Chick-fil-A's, Whataburgers, Starbucks, all that type of stuff. But nobody opens up a college, right? So when we opened up, like she said, with Dr. Bob and Earl Camp and everybody doing amazing things of trying to figure this out, we were the most technologically advanced college in the nation. Not in Houston, in the nation. We were advanced. And you guys are probably going for the, yeah, we get it, right? We got iPhone. No, back in 2003, we had in every single classroom a VHS player. We were ready to teach however we wanted to. It was fantastic. VHS.
A what?
It's, never mind.
Well, Ronnie, you may actually love this, but we are keeping up with that tradition of being technologically advanced. Our Office of Technology Services is outfitting our classrooms with state-of-the-art smart classrooms to produce smart students. We've got wonderful technology in the classrooms. We've also got a wonderful Title III grant that's helping provide a state-of-the-art tutoring lab that we're building as we speak. So,
fantastic.
So Mr. Betamax, we're keeping up with the times.
I didn't see the Betamax coming. I thought VHS was old school. We're going to go with Betamax. With that being said, with our next special guest, it's going to be fitting that we're going to be talking about technology. What I would like to do is introduce my dean, Dr. Claire Phillips, Dean of Science, Engineering, and Geosciences. She began her, give me 1 second. She began her career at Lone Star College-CyFair as a founding faculty member just like me, and also has served as an interim vice president of instruction. In 2022, she was granted an International Education Administrators Award to study global education in France through the Fulbright Scholarship Program to help develop internationalized science courses to benefit our students here. Please welcome Dr. Claire Phillips.
Hi, everybody. I'm not a big hugger, but today of all days, this is a day for hugging people. It is so wonderful to see so many people here. Ronnie and I are founding faculty, and that's one of the reasons I think I was chosen to speak. And there's some of you in the background there, I know. Hi, guys. Yeah. And the other reason is, I think, Dr. Henry, you're leading the trend here because I'm also retiring at the end of this year. So for those two reasons, I was asked to speak how my personal journey is reflective of what's been happening in this 20-plus years in the CyFair community, and specifically CyFair College. So indulge me for just a minute. I'm going to tell my personal journey from the time I was born. I won't go into a lot of detail, but there is a reason. I was born on the East Coast, specifically Manhattan, New York. I spent my formative years, though, in the Midwest, as Dr. Jones and I both are Missourians. And then I spent a significant amount of time on the West Coast. Met my husband, had my two kids there, San Francisco specifically, great place. But we decided to move to Houston, not just economically, but for other reasons that I'll talk about in a minute. And we decided on Houston, but we could have gone anywhere in Houston, anywhere. We had a friend who had a real estate agent who said you might try Cyprus. And it was serendipity. It was the best decision that we've ever made in our life. And I tell you, this is the reason I talked about where I came from, because we've been looking for some place that reflected our down-home values. Family first, willing to invest in our youth, giving back to the community, strong ethical codes that we found in the Midwest as we were growing up. And I don't think coincidentally, but these principles are reflected by our founding fathers, or rather founding mothers, in what we started when we started CyFair College and what we meant to the community. And then Dr. Jones is kind of re-envisioning this through some of the precepts of I Belong that we've been talking about. Well, when I got here, I'd always worked in business with my MBA, but I decided I was going to spend a couple of years with my kids and not work. And so I was going to be a community volunteer. And that went over for about 6 months, and then I figured I was working as much as a community volunteer that I would full time. And so I started doing work with Darcy Mangoya, and I worked with the chamber. I did some seminars with her. I also decided that I was going to segue from business, and I was going to become a college professor. And that wasn't the easiest thing in the world to do. I did get on as an adjunct at North Harris College, and eventually I went full-time there. And I worked with Benny Lambert. Where is Benny? Benny, let's give a shout out to Benny, who is now our college president at North Harris College, full circle. He and I worked together then. But I lived in the CyFair community, and as many people have said, there was no community college there. I wasn't used to that. In California, there's community colleges all over the place. So at that time, it was just kind of a gleam in certain people's eyes, many of whom are here today. But there was nothing here at all. This was my cut-through. Barker-Cypress I could get from 290 to I-10 in 10 minutes. Can't do that now anymore. But I met Darcy, who, we call her a community activist. I call her a powerhouse. And you cannot say no to Darcy, as some of you have found. She was getting the petition drive going, and she asked me to sit in front of Gerland's. Remember Gerland's, which is now Food Town or something like that? That didn't go very well, like you guys. But then I had this great idea, because I was a soccer mom at that time, and I went out to Dias Park, and man, those soccer moms just shoved that petition in their face, and they signed it. And I think I had a little bit to do with the college being here because of that. But then I still wasn't here, and I wanted to be here, and I wanted to give back to my community and be part of this dream. So I interviewed with the two ladies that are here, and I still remember Diane and Crystal. My teaching demo, and I was a veteran by then, a business faculty, I was so nervous when I was doing my teaching demonstration in front of you two, because I wanted to be here so badly. But you hired me. Thank you very much in retrospect. And it was the best experience that I've had professionally, I think, in my life. Now, you may have done startups. I know Fred Caldwell's, a few people, like his wife, has started up businesses from scratch. And that was kind of the ambiance that we had. You can do anything. You can be creative. It was a landmark experience in my life. It was really incredible. We started at 6,000 or 7,000 students. And now my division is as big as a lot of community colleges in Texas. We are humongous. I don't want to use the word flagship. It's not appropriate to use for us. But in business terms, I am going to use the word cash cow for CyFair. With 23,000 students, and it's not just the enrollment, it's who we graduate. It's what the state is looking for us. Workforce, yes, but also STEM students, cybersecurity. I could go on and on about who are graduating and what Texas needs. And I believe that in my impending retirement, we're both at kind of a crossroads. Another business term that you may be familiar with, I think CyFair, Lone Star CyFair, is now at the maturity stage of their life cycle. What we could do as a founding faculty and as a startup, we don't do. We're just, frankly, too big. We're a big ship to turn around. But that's okay, because we can re-envision ourselves. I personally have been able to touch the lives of thousands of CyFair youth. I've hired many of the people in the audience here today, so I've touched faculty and staff. But CyFair has touched not hundreds, not thousands, but hundreds of thousands of students over our existence. That's amazing. That is amazing. And I'll end by saying that I have friends that come from out of state and visit. Or maybe we have somebody who's interviewing for us, and they come from out of state, and they go, okay, tell me what this CyFair is. And I try to explain, it used to be Cypress, and FM Road goes to Fairbanks, and we're unincorporated, and it's too hard to explain. So I drive them to the corner of Barker-Cypress and West Road, and I show them the Berry Center and what it means to CyFair ISD and us. Although they always think it's a college, field. And then I go to Town Lake, and we have lunch at the Multipurpose Center, And I talk about how you can take a boat if you live there and go all the way from our college all the way to 290, right, Fred? You can do that? But then I walk around our campus here, our gorgeous campus, beautiful campus that we're still enjoying today, and I say, this is CyFair, and together we're making a difference, right? Everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Claire Phillips. You know, I've been on this stage many, many, many times. And actually, I'm usually up here for entertainment purposes. Why y'all laughing at that, man?
Shocking.
Shocking. I actually been up here, and I was actually back in the day, we actually used to have talent shows that would come, and we'd have a talent show up here. They asked me to be the MC. 20 years later, I'm still up here being an MC, which I love. But I was actually, if you can believe this, Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes.
Yes, Tina. With cargo pants on and tater tots tucked away into my cargo pants. Can you believe that?
I can believe it.
Yes. You're like, oh yeah, for sure.
Well, you know, Ronnie, this is actually not my first time on the stage either.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay.
And you might think it's because I'm up here showing data and KPIs and things of that nature, but no, it's actually way more entertaining than that. Our next guests and presenters have actually done a phenomenal job in bringing the community onto the stage. So just this last spring in the My Song I Belong concert, me and some of the community members got to come up here and sing an incredible medley of Beatles songs.
What did you just say? Wait, you sang?
Yes, I sang.
How'd that go?
I have not gotten a call back.
Oh! With that being said, let's make sure we leave the entertainment to the professionals.
Indeed, my friend.
With that being, I would like to introduce our next guest who's in charge of the Lone Star College Choral Program. Get to my page here, yes. I'd like to introduce Dr. Paulo Gomes. He has been LSC-CyFair's Director of Vocal Division and Choral Activities since last fall. You can see the trend. We're talking about the past and talking about the future. With that being said, he is the mastermind and is the Artistic Director and Conductor of Houston Masterworks Chorus. In sharing his passion, he aims to inspire, empower, and uplift and educate people, as well as enhance the musicianship of his students. Please welcome Lone Star College-CyFair Choir.
Students who say I'm gonna be free, Lord. CyFair, the home of the Falcons. 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 I belong, I belong, I belong, I belong, I belong, I belong, I belong in the nest. Anybody find me? Somebody to love, somebody to love, somebody to love, somebody, somebody, somebody to love.
Those are your students, those are our students, those are the students, and that just puts the biggest smile on my face. And, you know, and that makes me think that I need to probably give you some advice before we go on.
You're going to give me some
Yep,
advice?
Just going to make it really quick. Wear sunscreen, please.
Like I don't know about sunscreen.
Just,
You know, we give advice. We get advice in our classrooms. We give advice in the hallways. We give advice to our students while they're our students and long thereafter. And that is such an appropriate segue to our next presenter. Our next presenter, Evelyn Flores, was a founding advisor here at the campus, has been advising students even at the Fairbanks Center. Welcome to the stage, Evelyn Flores.
Thank you so much for the gracious introduction. Again, I am Evelyn Marta Flores. Ironically, the first dean of Lone Star College-CyFair's name was Dr. Martha Newsom. When she found out we had this in common, she insisted that we address each other by our shared names. This is just one example of how leadership set the tone of a family culture at LSC-CyFair 20 years ago. I must say, I prefer to address her as Dr. Newsom because she exemplified the grace, passion, and vision that motivated me to dream and be the best founding team member I could be at Lone Star College-CyFair. My current role at the college is an academic advisor. And this is the area that I've been serving for 20 years. Not because I couldn't transition to other areas, it's because this is my passion, student services. My journey and pathway to Lone Star College-CyFair began before I even got the job. I was driving on Highway 290 and spotted this brand new college being built for everyone to see. Having been a Texas resident for less than a year, I was looking for the perfect fit to match my higher education background, but didn't want to be too far from the community in which I lived. I said to myself, I'm going to work there. And it happened. I have so many favorite moments, so it was truly hard to pick just one to share today. But here it goes. One of my favorite moments of working at Lone Star College-CyFair was being included in the unofficial planning for the opening of the Barker Cypress location. Founding VPSS, Dr. Earl Campa, would come to me unofficially and ask my thoughts on the construction or logistics of the advising department, from colors of walls, carpet, and layout of the entire department. There was this kinship that brought all founding members together. It's truly difficult to explain, but just know that we were all treated as part of the CyFair family. When founding president Dr. Diane Troyer hosted the first college Christmas party in her home in Fairfield, I knew I was where I belong. I believe that our community will continue to embrace this environment where everyone matters and feels respected and appreciated. Celebrating 20 years is such a great milestone. And for the next 20+ years, Lone Star College-CyFair will no doubt be leading the way in innovation, community partnerships, and producing productive citizens for our ever-changing society. En general, siempre he sentido que pertenezco al colegio de Lone Star College-CyFair y continuaré impactando a los estudiantes, ayudándolos a ser lo mejor que puedan ser. In translation, overall, I have always felt that I belong at Lone Star College-CyFair, and I will continue to impact students by helping them become the best they can be. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn Flores. Have you ever considered yourself a professional volunteer?
No, but I've been voluntold quite often.
Yes, here I've been voluntold as well. I think our next special guest could be a professional volunteer with being on over 10 boards.
Ronnie, I follow the CyFair Chamber of Commerce on social media, and there's a ribbon cutting every single day. I get my community impact in my email box every single day, and there's a ribbon cutting every single day. Who better to talk about the business-friendly atmosphere in Cypress than Leslie Martone? She has been a friend of the college for 11 years now, beginning with St. Aidan's Episcopal Church, CyFair Credit Union, and is a board member of Reach Unlimited, as well as a trustee for the CyFair Educational Foundation. Please welcome Leslie Martone.
I'm gonna have to go look up those 10 boards. I think they've escaped me. I'm honored to be here today to celebrate the 20 years, and I do remember when Lone Star College opened up CyFair College. And some of the folks that have been up here today are just leaders continue to be leaders in our community. But I do have to say the Chamber, I'm honored to serve as the president, and right along with Paula Harvey, our vice president was here, who also, I think, collected a few of those signatures herself, are happy to continue that legacy of what businesses are in CyFair. I know we've heard a lot about traffic patterns, and Lone Star College helps us with our demographics and things that we need for our businesses to continue and thrive. And within the last census, we got some numbers in the words of 923,000 people. So if you're wondering why you're having to fight traffic so much, is you've got all those people on the roads with you. But one of the things that we do at the Chamber that I think Darcy kind of highlighted, and so did Fred, who led the foundation for the Chamber and for the business community in CyFair, is we love to tell the story. We love to tell the story of where CyFair came from. And I love when our businesses are just mesmerized that, oh, Lone Star College wasn't always there. No, we love to tell the story of how it began and how it came to fruition. And so I love to hear those stories over and over and again. And we tell our business leaders all the time of all the things that the community college can do for their business. And we constantly have these conversations with our leaders in Lone Star College that talk about how can we bring more relevance to our business community. We have conversations about, yes, we have welding, yes, we have nursing, yes, we have all these programs that develop our workforce. But what could we bring more? And so they continually bring us to the table to have those conversations. So I see a pattern now of how you're going into the future. And we as a chamber are committed to continue that fellowship with the college, with the ISC, to continue that conversation of where is our workforce going? How are we developing to the next phase of our life? And so I'm so excited to be here to celebrate 20 years, but also to tell you the foundation is strong and we continue to build on that legacy and continue for the next 20 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leslie. Greatly appreciated. You know, some of the things I've done, I have been actually in this social media with our next special guest, and we were actually both professional wrestlers with Dynamite Daryl and Rowdy Ronnie.
Yeah, how did that do on views?
Oh, we were at 7,000 views. I already told you this already. We killed it.
Well, unfortunately, when your partner, Dynamite Daryl, broke out on his own, he got over 75,000 views.
Dude, he's a falcon. I had to let him fly. You know what I'm saying?
When I first met our next presenter, it was on my second day here, and I said to him, I think I need an iPad. And he said, why? I said, because I need to look important in meetings. And he says, I think we're going to be friends. Daryl Woodruff, important to let him know, he has not only served this college as an employee with the Office of Technology, but he is also a CyFair graduate. Welcome to the stage, Daryl Woodruff.
All right, hello. My name is Daryl Woodruff, and I proudly serve this campus as its friendly neighborhood IT manager. Today, though, I'm here to talk to you about my experience as a Lone Star College student. It's a story about second chances. I graduated around the corner from Langham Creek High School back in 2001, and I registered originally at Lone Star College Tomball. I wasn't very mature at the time. A lot of you that know me know I'm still not very mature now, but you know, imagine 20 years between then and now. I had actually gotten my first IT job when I was 16 years old. I was working nights at this little itty bitty company you may have heard of called Enron. I had a little bit of an income already. I had got myself a Nintendo 64. I had an Xbox. I didn't really want to go to school that badly. I would usually register for classes. I would go for a week or two, and then I just wouldn't show up again. I did not even withdraw. I'd eat the Fs. And this was even in the era when you could withdraw as many times as you wanted to. But there was an exception. I always loved computers and I always went to my technology classes. And even though I was going to the technology classes, with all the classes I wasn't going to, it didn't take very long for me to be on academic probation. But that's when I met Professor Calvin Reynolds at Tomball in 2003 for his Fundamentals of Networking class. Calvin, he was a Master Chief in the Navy, and if you don't know what a Master Chief is, he's the top guy among all the enlisted men that are on a ship, and part of his job is to look at his sailors, find some with some innate talent, and it's his job to try and develop it. He's kind of like a stern father figure, and he had to know who needed a little bit of discipline and who needed a little bit of direction. For me to be in the networking class, he had to do the paperwork because I was on academic probation, but during the class, he noticed that I excelled in it. So he came to me and told me that I was going to be perfect for the Cisco networking workforce program. So kind of like he did in the Navy, he gave me a little bit of direction when he got me to sign up. He vouched for me. He did the paperwork every single semester for me to continue taking the class, and I graduated from the Cisco program in 2006 and went on to what has been a pretty lucrative career. I am here today. Quick fun fact, because we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of this college, it was my class that came here from Tomball and helped build the original Cisco labs here in the tech building. So fast forward, my career brought me back to Lone Star College in February 2017. It was a no-brainer for me to try and make up for the past and finish my degree with the Educational Assistance Program that we offer. There was a quick hurdle that I had to overcome. Is Dr. Lambert where? Dr. Lambert probably remembers this. I was only a few months into my career here at Lone Star College, and I walked up to Dr. Lambert with a piece of paper, and I said, Dr. Lambert, I need you to sign this paperwork to get me off of academic probation. And I do remember Dr. Lambert kind of looked at me because he's looking at the IT manager on campus, and he kind of smiled a little bit, and his exact quote was, I think you've waited long enough. And so he signed the form and let me get back to work. But it didn't go exactly as planned. I bombed immediately again. I'd taken on too many classes. It'd been 20 years since I'd taken a math class. I didn't pass a single class at my first semester back. But there was some good news. There was one professor who I had taken a class from back in 2003. His name was Professor Alex Smith. He taught history here. I really enjoyed his class so much that it was one of the few non-technology classes that I showed up for. We crossed paths and he was still teaching here, and I realized that taking my second level history class here would be what could put the wind back in my sails when I felt like I really needed a win. So I did that, got my momentum going, and I was off to the races. And then we fast forward to COVID. I had my son, and it seemed like everything in the world was turning upside down, but I made sure I was taking at least one class at a time. We offer 8-week classes here, we offer mini-semester classes here, and I tried to take advantage of all of them. And so I did. I graduated in the summer of 2020. A degree from Lone Star College represents a lot of things to different people. For students, it represents a lot of hope, and it represents opportunity. For me, I kind of feel like it's a little bit of an insurance policy. I've got a little bit of time invested in my career already, but I do firmly believe that every job is temporary. In fact, if I stay up here too long, I might need it pretty quickly. But the most important thing to me about getting that degree is I look back at all the time and money and stress that I cost my parents back in the early 2000s. When I got my degree, the thing that really did bring a tear to my eye was I felt redeemed in their eyes, and it was one of the greatest feelings in the world. And in fact, just as a surprise, I brought my parents with me today as I tell you this story. I want to tell you thank you very much for supporting me, and I love you. You don't get to hear a 40-year-old person tell their parents they love them in an atmosphere like this unless they just want a playoff game, you know? So I'm now on a path to get my bachelor's degree at the University of Houston, Victoria. And that is my Lone Star College story. I went from basically failing out to a workforce program to coming back as a member of the staff to a proud Lone Star College graduate. And the beauty of it is that I'm certain that we have a tremendous number of success stories just like mine. I made a speech very much like this one a few weeks ago at our campus convocation. And one of the things that I shared was that while preparing for it, I learned that Professor Reynolds had passed away late last year. When I read that, I reflected on the fact that I wouldn't be standing here today if it weren't for him giving me an opportunity so many years ago. And that's the moral of my story. All he ever did was give me an opportunity, and it's the little things like that that we do for people that may be nothing to us but everything to them. Just like Professor Smith when he put the wind back in my sails, for time I skipped the story about how I had a little bit of trouble getting transferred into the university program, but the transfer lab here on campus did me a great deal of assistance helping me find a bachelor program because workforce credits don't always transfer that well. And yeah, all those little things add up to me standing up here today as living proof of the magic that Lone Star College is capable of. As I wrap this up, I do want to reflect on graduating. When I graduated in 2020, we were in the height of the COVID pandemic, so the ceremony was a pre-recorded YouTube video where our names scrolled by. I'm not complaining. We really did have to do the best that we could. I mean, it was a pretty wild time, but I can't say it was very memorable. Today's very different. I'm looking around the room and seeing the people that I serve every day. Many of them are the same people who have helped me succeed as a student. I see esteemed members of our community. I see our college's administration. My parents are here. It kind of feels like what a graduation should feel like. We're celebrating 20 years of Lone Star College-CyFair, and as a teeny tiny feature, this is what I'll always remember as my belated graduation ceremony. Can I move my tassel? So that's it. Thank you very much. I genuinely love this community. I love being a part of this college, and I hope my example shows just how much Lone Star College can do for someone. You may not need the college today, but we're always here if you change your mind.
That's awesome right there. Thank you, Daryl Woodruff. That was absolutely awesome. The great thing about this is I had my next little skit to go along with that. We ain't doing it. I don't want to ruin that scenario, and that was just absolutely perfect. So with that being said, I'm just going to turn it right over to you.
Well said, Ronnie. I am humbled to introduce our next speaker to the stage because not only does he represent an important academic relationship, but also because he is doing his victory lap as the outgoing CyFair ISD superintendent. I am a proud parent of 2 CyFair ISD students.
I actually have a 12-year-old that's going to Salyards and a wife that's been an AP for over 20 years.
I am honored to introduce Dr. Mark Henry, the superintendent of Cypress Fairbanks ISD. He has served as a superintendent since 2011, and during that time, he has overseen the district's growth and its success. Dr. Henry is a visionary leader whose support and partnerships have opened up a world of opportunities for CyFair ISD students through our dual credit programs and our College Academy programs, which have over 700 students with associate's degrees this year. Please welcome our friend and our community partner, Dr. Mark Henry.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. And first of all, I would say congratulations, Lone Star College-CyFair. And, going all the way back to Dr. Levy through Dr. Keshvala, and now Valerie over here, we always talk about our kids. And there are kids pre-K through 14 and now pre-K through 16 with bachelor's degrees being offered. So congratulations. You are a partner that's helped CyFair ISD be what it is, and we're so thankful for the vision of these great people that have already spoken and many others. And I see Jerry Ashworth up there, and I know Jerry is relatively new, but running Memorial Herman Cypress, and Katie. What a great resource it is here with all the nurses that I know he needs, because I hear him talk about it all the time. So. Did you know that over 60% of the Lone Star College students were CyFair ISD students? That 1 out of every 18 CyFair graduates this last year not only received their high school diploma, but they received their associate's degree from Lone Star College. Did you know that if you added CyFair ISD student body with the student body of Lone Star College-CyFair, that's over 140,000 students that we are serving. And of course, all of those students are attached to parents and grandparents, and in your case, more than mine, spouses, and they have children at home. So we serve a lot of people. And you hear a lot of talk about, the federal government did this to improve the economy, the state government did this to improve the economy. And I've got developers here and realtors here. Do you know what improves the economy of the local community? It is a strong school system, and it's a strong community college working together to improve the lives of families. That's the real economic driver that no one ever talks about in communities. Just to tell you something that, a little quick story, and it really is quick. I'm short-winded. My people will tell you I'm short-winded. My dad's a Baptist preacher, and I'm short-winded. Now, what are the odds of that? But when I first came to CyFair in 2011, I got an email from someone, and the email was anonymous. People that send you less than polite emails are usually anonymous because they have no courage. That it said, hey, the job's too big for you. And my response was, it's too big for me, but not for us. And as I look at Darcy and Fred and all of the people that got Lone Star College started, it was too big just for Darcy, and it was too big for Fred, and it was too big for Diane and everyone else. But it wasn't too big for us, and we proved it. I've been a part of the college now for over 60% of its existence, and I've been proud of that association. But guys, we can do anything if we put our minds together and work together. And I know you hear that all the time, but I'm going to add a little caveat to that. If you don't work and maintain what you got, you can lose it too. And if you want a strong school system and you want a strong community college, you got to work for it. You can build it, but if you don't maintain it, and you don't nurture it, and you don't make sure that there's great people running those organizations, you can lose it. So we've got it built. It's flourishing. It's a great partner to the community and the school district. So let's don't lose that. Let's keep battling every day to make sure that the kids in this community continue to have an opportunity. Thank you.
You want to go for it? Thank you, Dr. Mark Henry. Greatly appreciated. Let me give you a quick little history lesson. Good?
I'm ready.
Dr. Albrecht, Dr. Williams, you're actually going to like this too. So I have a little secret for you guys. Y'all may not know this, but there are still Lone Star, made a mistake, CyFair College original logos still around on this campus, right, Kelly? I know where a lot of these logos are, and I'm not telling a single person where those are. Sorry, Dr. Jones, sorry, Dr. Dempsey. If you find one of these logos, you can share it with me because it reminds us of our past. It's a little bit of history, and it's a little nugget that brings the biggest smile to my face. Dr. Williams, there's a little hint right there for you on where maybe some of these may be. But with that being said, I'm going to turn that back over to you now.
It's a nice segue to history as we introduce our next guest speaker, who not only teaches history, but also represents the group of us that just got here. So welcome to the stage, Professor of History, Chelsea Branch.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, and of course, welcome back to our community partners and those who have played a role over the past 20 years. When I looked at the order of speakers on the program today, I thought it was funny that I was going to be speaking after my former superintendent, Dr. Mark Henry of CyFair ISD, because I'm a former dual credit instructor at Jersey Village High School. Yes! Woo! And I had the pleasure to attend the graduation ceremony for my last class that I taught. I taught them as juniors, so I got a chance to see them grace the stage at the Berry Center and earn their high school diploma. One of my former students actually reserved a ticket for me, so of course I had to go. And I got a chance to catch up with the students and talk to them, and I'm sharing that because several of them have made their way to our campus this fall semester. I actually have a former student in my class right now. I didn't recognize her name when I was going over the roster, but then you're taking attendance and you're trying to make connection. We're embracing the I belong culture, Dr. Jones, right, that first week. And she wasn't a dual credit student. She was an AP student, didn't take the AP test, obviously, but I'm excited to have her. And I share that with you because as we're celebrating 20 years, that lets us know for the past 20 years, we've been doing something right, and apparently we're getting it right because those several students decided to make Lone Star-CyFair their first choice. And that's worth celebrating, especially when you think about the impact we're having in the community, and we've talked about our increase in enrollment since COVID. One of my students said it best. She had an outburst, y'all. I don't know what the context of the conversation is, but she blurts out and she goes, "Man, campus is packed." And I'm pretty sure she was referring to the parking lot, but we all just kind of stopped and we looked at her and we're like, yeah, you know what it is. There's a point in time, leading up to the fall semester where I wasn't sure if all my sections were gonna make, but sure enough, they did, and I'm thankful for that. But I think our student life plays a huge role. Shout out to LSC-CyFair Student Life on Instagram. I follow y'all, and I was telling my students to follow y'all, so I don't want to brag, but if you're getting an increase in followers, Professor Branch, I'm trying to send them your way, right? So they can get engaged and get active and connected here on campus. And when you think about the wonderful opportunities and the resources that we have at this campus alone, we really could rival some universities, y'all. I don't know if you realize that or not, but we can. About 3 weeks ago, I also spoke at our campus convocation, and I kind of talked about, finding my way and like a sense of direction. And when I think about what Lone Star CyFair represents to the community, I believe for many of our students who decide to choose us, that's exactly what we represent, right? The opportunity to kind of find their way, find their path in life. How are they going to contribute to society and really think about their final destination? Whether they're coming to start with us to get core complete and then transfer on to a university, or if they're working on a certification program and they're getting ready to usher straight into the workforce, or if they're completing one of the programs that we offer, like our nursing program, right? So that's amazing when you think about that. But for some of our students, I also believe that we represent a second chance. Many faculty members on our first day of classes, we have students stand up and introduce themselves, right? The most exciting thing to do is to stand up and introduce yourself to about 29 other students that you've never met before. And I'm all in their business, y'all, because I have a slide. I'm asking, what's your first name, your last name, your preferred name? Because, you know, sometimes like Catherine, she wants to go by Cat, or they have a middle name because their first name is a little difficult for you to pronounce. So by the time they get to you, like, just call me this, right? I'm asking them, is this their first time on campus? Because I want to know, did they find the class okay? Do you know where your next class is? And sure enough, after my 9 a.m. class on Monday, August 28th, I had several students, I teach in CASA, and they need to get over to the case. And I'm trying to send them together in a group, but of course they're walking off individually because this generation is different. They're still working on those social skills as a result of COVID. So we're still flexing that muscle, but I'm trying, y'all. So hopefully by the end of the semester, we'll be there. But I share that with you because I had a student who stood up, and really quick, I also asked him, you know, what's your major, what's your minor, like what program are you a part of? And then if you plan on transferring, and where are you gonna transfer to, right? Because I wanna know, why are you here, what's your goal, what's your destination? First day of class. So one of our students, he stands up and he introduces himself and he goes, I'm a Texas A&M student. Well, that's weird because I can't check that off on the attendance roster, right? Because he's not following the directions on the prompts, right? Because, you know, we have some of those students who don't follow directions very well, but sometimes they make our best student, right? And we make some of the best memories with them. So I'm excited to have him, but that student represents the opportunity that we provide to welcome those students, because we don't turn anybody away, right? And so that student knew his path, he knew his way in life, and he was gonna go on to earn that degree at Texas A&M, but he made some decisions, right, that brought him to our front door. So basically, y'all, he partied a little bit more than he studied. And for some of us, that's our experience as well, where we were on academic probation or suspension because we weren't gonna miss a good party, right? I know y'all went to tutoring and you were in your professor's office hours, but for some of us, right, you know, before there was TikTok and you learned how to do the dance, we were on YouTube and you had to figure it out. I know y'all don't know because you went to class, but for some of us, that was our experience. So for that student, we represent a second chance. But for other students, we also represent the opportunity to finish what they started years ago. One of my students really quickly started over 7 years ago. And you know, sometimes you have to take time away, and he's got married and he has a child. And he said to me, he's like, you know, Professor Branch, people in my industry, they've already graduated. People my age, they're already in the industry I want to be in. And you know, the students in the class, they can finish that assignment in 15 minutes, but for someone like me, it's going to take me at least 2 hours, right? So that's the kind of student that we also welcome to this campus, to meet him exactly where he is and support him. And so that's the opportunity that we get to have. But whether we're a student's first choice or their second chance, or an opportunity to finish the goal that they started over 7 years ago, I believe Lone Star CyFair is the right choice. We've been the right choice for the past 20 years. We're going to continue to be the right choice for the years to come. And I feel blessed that I get to be a part of the vision and the commitment that started at this campus and this community over 20 years ago. And with that, I say happy anniversary and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Professor Chelsea Branch. That's awesome. All right, so I don't want to screw this up. I know I got to make sure I get this one correct, so I'm bringing out the note card. Did you know our next special guest is the 200cc 3-star Gold Mushroom Grand Prix Cup champion on Mario Kart 8?
I did not know that.
It's a video game, you get it, right? It's awesome. You play video games?
Actually, I don't have time for video games right now.
Vice President of Instruction, KPIs, and data
KPIs,
so whatever.
And you would think that'd be the reason I don't play video games right now, but actually, and you could speak to this as being a kinesiology professor, I'm trying to get in shape.
Hey, there we go. Now we're talking somewhere.
What do you think? Just like our next special guest,
I'd like to compete in an Ironman. What do you think? A marathon, bike about don't laugh too hard. Hold on. Bike about 500 miles and then swim. I'm on this side of the room going for maybe we should start with a 5K walk first. Wait, are you saying our next guest has done Ironman? And Mario Kart champion. That's impressive. Ronnie, this campus has deep roots and a deep, rich history. I tell you what, I've really enjoyed the perspective presented today. This campus is a perfect blend of respecting its past while moving forward. As this campus celebrates its 20th, we're preparing for the next 20 years. That duality of walking forward while looking backwards, I think also speaks to a new era here at Lone Star College as a whole, as we celebrate and welcome a new chancellor to our system. Lone Star College Chancellor Mario Castillo started in 2015 as general counsel for our system. He has since held a number of different positions, including vice chancellor, chief operating officer, and as LSC Kingwood's interim president. He started his new role as chancellor this August. Please welcome to the stage, El Chancellor, Mario Castillo.
Thank you, thank you. It's so nice to be at the colleges celebrating things. Let me just start with that. As someone who didn't get invited to a whole lot of celebrations, I really, really appreciate being here. Thank you so much. So let me start first with acknowledging, right, that no matter what we do in the future, we stand on the shoulders of giants. And some of those giants are Dr. Troyer, Dr. Phillips, amazing work that you guys have both done, and everything that we do moving forward very much starts at that foundation. And let me tell you, you're right, we can't say that CyFair is the flagship, especially because it's being recorded. But I can tell you, as someone who sort of travels to all the colleges pretty regularly, you can definitely tell that CyFair is different from other colleges. And one of the things that CyFair, particularly faculty, are really proud about are being founding faculty members, right? You know right away when you're dealing with a founding faculty member, and they take a lot of pride in that. And really, to be honest with you, up until pretty much today, I never really understood why. And now I see that it's sort of something that's been ingrained from the very beginning, that to start a college is a very big deal, that you have been here since sort of day one. And everything that we do as we move forward will have been built on that. So thank you on behalf of sort of those of us that are new administrators and new to our roles. I want to thank those of you in the shoes that we're stepping into on behalf of Dr. Jones and myself, because everything that we do is building on what you have built. So thank you. The choir, there's really only one word to sort of describe what I just sat there, and it's beautiful. That was beautiful. I'm so grateful to have been able to sit through that. Dr. Jones, I don't know if you have that recorded or if we need to record it, but that needs to make its way onto social media. And we need to record it because that was absolutely beautiful. Good job. You know, one of the things that I was asked when I was going through the second Ironman this year, so I did 2 Ironmans. I did the one that they're describing, which was the easier one, swimming 2.4 miles, biking 113, and then running a marathon. That was the easier one. The harder one was becoming chancellor, which was, it took me 15 hours and 7 minutes to do the Ironman Texas. It took me about 7 months and probably 8.5 years to become chancellor. And so, let me just tell you this, a lot of times when I was going through the chancellor search, I didn't know if I was going to be able to sort of finish. It's a really tough process, to be really sort of honest with you. It's a really tough process, and there was times where I would say to myself, I jumped off a bike after 113 miles and ran a marathon. You know, I don't know how to quit. And I can tell you this too, like many of our students, and a lot of times the reason why I did Ironman is I think a lot of times as leaders we tell students to believe and do things and stretch themselves. So the thing that I'm most proud of about that Ironman is that I didn't know how to swim 3 years ago. And so I had to learn how to swim, and I didn't know just not how to swim, I was terrified of water. It was scary to get into the water. And so it took me all of 8 months, 3 or 4 times a week to sort of get there. but I did the Ironman. So now when students sort of tell me you don't understand, I can tell them, no, I do. Along those lines, to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a first generation everything, first generation American, a first generation college student. My mother didn't even go to high school. My dad barely graduated from high school. They came to this country with nothing. And the difference between that and being chancellor is education. That's it. And that is what y'all do here, and you've been doing here for 20 years. You know, as we look at someone like Daryl, I can tell you that Daryl is unusual in the way that as the chief operating officer and general counsel, a lot of times people were very familiar to me for all the wrong reasons, right? But Daryl was one of those names that I'll tell you came up and it was always positive. And it was always something positive to be said about him. So Mom and Dad, y'all did a really good job. Thank you for sharing them with us. And so to carry on as sort of we move forward into an I Belong future, right? Which apparently now has its own soundtrack. We want to make sure that everyone moving forward belongs and feels like they belong, right? So, and we're going to need everybody. We need our chambers of commerce. We need our private employers. We need our community activists. We need our professors. We need our faculty and staff. We need our academic advisors that are there not because they can't do anything else, but because they're doing the very thing that they love. And you guys have done some tremendous things here at CyFair. You know, when I think about, for example, when people tell me community college, right? Like I'll tell you, a week ago, I was somewhere at a restaurant and there was a table sitting next to me and the father and son are having a conversation and the father says, if you don't watch out, you're going to end up going to a community college. Now, don't let the suit fool you. I'm hood. And so I turned around and I actually interrupted this meal. My wife's like, what are you doing, right? And I said, I'll have you know that my kids are going to go to community college, and not because they're failures, but because I believe in the mission of that institution to that extent. And I'm not just the chancellor of this institution. You know, when you work somewhere, do you buy the product? Do you use it? And I can tell you that my children ask me, what is Lone Star College? And I tell them, well, you're going to go to college, right? And so I can tell you, do not speak negatively about community college, because I will take my earrings off and probably end up on the news. So along those lines, right, one of the ideas for the future is that I'm exploring is having two things, and one of them is especially relevant to someone like you, Daryl, is number one, having an all Spanish graduation, right? Because for so many of us, I can tell you that my parents didn't speak English. And so when they came to graduation, they had no idea what was going on, right? And so we want to make sure that half of our students are Hispanic and most of their parents don't speak English. So we want to make sure that, like your parents are here and able to enjoy with you, that those parents can come and enjoy with their children. Along those lines as well, you know, I thought a lot about that, and I can tell you that one of the ideas that I have again for this spring is perhaps we have a graduation face-to-face for the 2020 folks that didn't actually get a graduation. Because you did the work, and we owe you those memories. And we owe those memories to your community, to your squad, to your support, to your tribe. And so that's one of the things that we're going to look at doing in the spring. And so, you know, going on then next to Dr. Henry, I want to tell you, I've never met Dr. Henry. In fact, that was the first time I've ever talked to him. But I can tell you that I read something about Dr. Henry that has inspired me, and I'm kind of sad that he had to step away because he had another engagement. But one of the things that I'll tell you is that I read exactly what he said. And as you take on this job and this awesome responsibility, I want you to take a step for a second and imagine the awesome responsibility that it must be to become the chancellor of this institution, with so many hopes and dreams are invested in it, so much work has been done, so many careers have been made and fulfilled here. And to say to yourself, am I big enough for this job? And there have been people that have written me telling me you're not big enough for this job. And I read what Dr. Henry wrote, and said, and it inspired me. And I said, you're right, I'm not big enough, but we are. And that's really sort of the idea as we move forward. As we move forward, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to try new things. We are going to innovate. And as scary as a VHS and a Betamax was, right? So too is AI, online learning. Those are our sort of VHS and our Betamax. But you know, as I wrote earlier in an email to all of the colleges, if we put people first and we treat people as humans first, then we are capable of doing anything. And one of the most remarkable things, again, when I did bring this up, by the way, at the restaurant, I said, you know, at one of our college, Lone Star College-CyFair, they did something that went to now I can't think of the word at the time, to the space, thank you. That went into space, right? What have you done, right? So I'm telling you, people are like, do you work there? I'm like, oh, I work there. So again, along those lines, and sort of what is your legacy for those of you that are sort of either about to hang them up, like Dr. Phillips, you're about to hang up Dr. Troyer, or other people that have retired. Let me tell you what the legacy is, right? So the former vice president here is the next president, actually the current president at North Air is Dr. Lambert. Dr. Haggerty, who's right there, used to be one of your deans, now is the senior associate vice chancellor. Ashley Resendez, who is one of your long-term deans of student services, is now the associate vice chancellor in student success. So leaders lead. And CyFair has produced its fair share. I can tell you that now when people come to me and they bring me someone from CyFair, I said, I cannot take anyone else from CyFair. Dr. Jones will get mad at me, right? And I don't want to draw her ire, so I got to hit the brakes for a little bit. But, you know, one of the things that I want to sort of tell you is I'm, to finish up here, Professor Branch, where'd you go? Professor Branch, there you are. Professor Branch, I was in that group of people. I believe it or not, I was one of those people like, I can't miss that party. I got to party rock, right? And so I can tell you that. And the Napoleon Dynamite reference earlier, I hadn't heard about Napoleon Dynamite in years, and it immediately triggered a memory. I'm a huge Texas Longhorn fan, so I went to Texas. And I went to Texas during its heyday, although with beating Alabama this last weekend, perhaps we're back. But I'm not going to say it, because then that's when things go south, right? But I can tell you, Napoleon Dynamite, we only had one movie, and we drove from Austin to Pasadena to watch them play Michigan in the Rose Bowl, a game that we won by a field goal kicked by someone named Dusty Magnum. Is that not the most amazing Texas name, Dusty Magnum, right? Of course, the next year, they beat USC in the same Rose Bowl for the national championship. And the thing is, we all deserve a second chance. We all deserve a professor that's obviously as exciting and as animated as you are to give that second chance. And on behalf of our students, thank you so much, because, you know, a lot of times I think we overestimate the things that students think about. And I can tell you a lot of over the years, the classes become a haze. But the way that faculty members treated us, those people that very first, I had an economics professor at UT that didn't know my name but called me Upward Mobile. And I didn't care what he called me so long as he wrote me a letter of recommendation to go to law school, right? But I can tell you that at a time, as I've written on LinkedIn, it is at our darkest times that the smallest of lights shine the brightest. And so for a lot of you, you are the small light in someone's darkness, someone that's trying to start over, someone that maybe didn't try as hard as they should have, and now they're back. And it takes courage, like I've written in another post, it takes courage to walk up to a counter and say, I want more. I want more for myself, I want more for my family, I want more for my children, I want more for my community. And you guys have time and again answered that call. So all jobs are temporary. Daryl, all jobs are temporary. And my job is temporary. One day, I will no longer be the chancellor of this institution. But again, as I wrote today in an email to all employees, we're going to try new things. We're going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. And we're going to work really hard to make sure that this is a great college to work for, not just for some people, but for everyone. And so we need everyone. And we're going to make mistakes, and I'm going to learn from them. But fear of failure will not be something that defines us. And we will move forward knowing that over the last 20 years, we have done some tremendous things, and our best days are ahead of us. Thank you.
Castillo. Again, wishing you all a very humble and thank you so much for being here, to our community guests, to our community partners, all of our attendees, our faculty, our staff, and our students. Thank you for being here to celebrate with us. So whether you've been here for 20 years or 20 days, whether you're a falcon or a duck, know that you belong here. Know that you're a part of this institution's wonderful history, and we thank you for that. Please join us for refreshments outside in the lobby, and for the stage guests, could you please come back up here one last time for a group photo? Thank you very much for celebrating with us today. Happy anniversary! Hopefully you guys had fun. Thank you guys, everybody.